Chicken shortage has consumers clucking mad. CARICOM to determine local content laws. Kanu makes two multi-million-dollar drug busts in one day. And whatever happened to the order of democracy? I am Rico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. There is a nationwide chicken shortage, and according to the Guyana Poultry Association, the high demand for chicken last Christmas had put pressure on the nation's chicken farms. Then large events such as last month's energy conference followed soon after, adding additional pressure on the market. More hatchlings have since been imported to try to satisfy demand. But seeing as it takes a full 6 weeks at minimum to raise a chicken, the supply may not stabilize until next month. Minister of Education Priya Manichan says that her ministry is aiming to have all schools across the nation fully reopened after the Easter break. Even with online classes, thousands of students lost access to education due to the pandemic. Those pupils who have been absent are currently being sought through Operation Recovery. Manichan said that so far the ministry provided assistance ranging from a uniform, school supplies, and food items. However, she admitted that much of it wouldn't be possible without the assistance of kind-hearted individuals and civil society groups across the nation. The Parliamentary Committee of Appointments has approved the nomination of Dunstan Barrow as the director of the Natural Resource Fund Board, the board which will have oversight of Guyana's oil revenues. Barrow, a former People's National Congress parliamentarian, was nominated by the PPP. However, the coalition were none too pleased with the nomination. In fact, they stormed out of the committee meeting in protest. Initially, there were 10 nominees, 3 from the government and 7 from the opposition. But the government chose their nominee over any of the opposition's. On Wednesday, Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley said regional leaders have agreed to consider what should the amount of local content be and over what period. This follows concerns from the Caribbean private sector organization about whether Guyana's local content legislation is breaching CARICOM's single market rules. Motley said that CARICOM leaders have decided to establish an open-ended committee of member states, and that would be discussing required local content for new industries without breaching the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas that governs the single market. She also said that after the discussions have been completed, a recommended framework would be dispatched to the full CARICOM summit. The new rules would apply to all member states who are starting new industries and not just Guyana. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is this 2014 Audi Q3. It comes with Bluetooth, mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, fog lamps, electronic parking brake, park camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $5.6 million, or pay down as low as $1,120,000 down, with around $108,000 monthly for 5 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Peterborough Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamont Street, and tell them Nico sent you for this sweetie. The government has approached the Inter-American Development Bank, or the IDB, for US $244 million in loans to fund major projects in the health, road, and energy sectors. According to the IDB, it is reviewing documents for the approval of US $160 million for Guyana to strengthen its healthcare network by expanding access and improving the quality of health services countrywide. $83.5 million is going to support the diversification of the nation's energy matrix via the use of cleaner and renewable energy sources, and around $300,000 is going towards road expansion. Yesterday, 2 gunmen robbed a customer at a supermarket in East Kanji, Berbice. The 2 gunmen stormed the store before attempting to snatch a handbag from a customer. The men then immediately fled the scene. This is actually the second time a robbery has occurred at the store in the past 2 years. Also coming out of Berbice are reports that Kanu agents busted 3 men on the number 63 public road with over 53 kilos of cannabis in the trunk of their vehicle yesterday. The cops said that the weed had a street value of 16 million Guyana dollars. The 3 men are currently in police custody awaiting charges. You can multiply your cash by selling digital top-up. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy through Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Yesterday, Kanu agents also busted 2 men at a home in West Rumfeldt, Georgetown with over 1 kilo of cocaine. 49-year-old Ron Reed, and 45-year-old Nigel Dundas, some old drug traffickers. Anyway, Reed and Dundas were arrested with over $1.2 million of the drugs already packaged into 100-plus pellets. According to Kanu, this is the second time Reed has been charged for drug possession. Now for today's Runner Report. Today, the nation recorded 31 new cases. There are now 1,223 persons dead, 7 in the ICU, and 299 in home isolation. And the total number of confirmed cases around the nation now stands at 63,002. So, please, people, wash your hands frequently. Avoid touching your nose and mouth and mask up before you leave the house. When you do leave home, try to avoid enclosed spaces and large crowds. And remember to give 6 feet of space between you and others. Now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? Broken political promises. Yesterday marked the second anniversary of the beginning of the dumpster fire known as the 2020 elections. During that period, many Guyanese, myself included, from across all races and backgrounds, took a principled stance against what clearly appeared to be a coordinated effort to rig the results of the election and then gaslight the nation about its results. People such as Christopher Ram and Glenn Law publicly demanded the truth from the government and our elections officials. 5 months passed by, and APNU finally decided to let go of the reins of power and let the PPP take over. And since then, the nation has been building project after project at almost breakneck speed. But there is one promise that the government is clearly neglecting and dragging its foot on. And if you ask me, I think it's solely for political reasons. Our president promised to publicly recognize the people who call themselves the defenders of democracy with the Order of Democracy Award. Now it seems like our memories of the period and the people who fought to have the will of the people prevail are fading rapidly from the public's mind. As for the PPP, they surely remember the names, but many of those people who took a principled stance for democracy back then are also being just as vocal about the need for government transparency today. And if the government is delaying the awarding of these people in hopes that, the public would just eventually forget about it, then that is pretty messed up. Take a look at this beauty being constructed in a gated community called Richmondville in Guyana. It features 4 bedrooms, 1 pool with 7,000 square feet of living space, along with modern amenities. Contact Sheriff Construction on 592-618-5702. Moving on to our Uncut News Viewers Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Yesterday's question was about cannabis legislation. Legalize it or criticize it. Aha! Tanisha Porter says that weed should be legalized because it's a big money market. Permits should be granted for farms to export and have cafes to sell weed legally. No, it should not be smoked in public. They should take examples from Holland, Canada, and Jamaica. Also, she stresses that at least 60% of the cannabis business should be owned by Guyanese, like what Jamaica's doing. Now that is local content I can support. Aha! Siraj Narayan says he would rather see this blocked for fear that the kids might get their hands on it, and he feels that in the long run this will have more damaging effects to society and the country at large. Well, that's just how you feel. Barefoot Wanderer says marijuana. Grow it, legalize it, tax it. More importantly, ship it to Las Vegas. They run out of marijuana over there. My 2 cents from a non-smoker. See, even non-smokers agree that we are missing out on a money-making opportunity. Don't get me wrong, I don't want everybody in the streets here getting high, but there are millions, if not billions, of people who want to smoke the weed around the world, and if we want to provide it to them, then why not? Sharon Davis says that people are crazy enough on liquor, so she's not too keen on the weed, so she supports decriminalizing it only. Yes, I mean, come on, just find the people, but prison, at least 3 years in prison for a joint seems excessive, Finally, Vernon Kadar says, join the ship early. Marijuana has 1,000 byproducts, especially medicinal purposes. Indeed, the possibilities are endless. So for tonight's question, I want to know, how do you feel about CARICOM having a say in our local content laws? Do you think it's fair given our previous commitments to the group, or do you think they are being unfair for determining how we run things in our country? Or do you feel it's a bit more complicated than that? Think about that question and tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks. Hey, Uncut News viewers, thanks for watching. You can subscribe by clicking on this button over here, or click over there for more news. You can also drop a comment to let me know if you've made it to the end of the video. Goodbye for now.